You are listening to Vitruvian Man with Jesse and Josh.
Welcome back to Vitruvian Man, and as usual, I'm joined by Manila Josh.
Manila.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Great. We saw a show the other night, and I do quotes at the end of this episodes, but I got a little quote to just in 4 seconds to talk about the show we saw the other night.
All right.
We saw Schizophonics, it was amazing, and then the headliner was called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, and they have the veneer of punk. They have the shrink wrapping of punk, but they are not punk.
And also, I mean, apparently they are all in punk bands.
Oh, and again,
it's like a punk supergroup.
Good musicians.
Solid.
Yes.
They had good production value.
Oh, yeah.
They were fucking
Sound was
tight
great.
as
Yeah,
shit.
super tight.
But,
to quote Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers, we could drive in limos and private jets all day long, and we'd still be more punk rock than the bands that call themselves punk rock today. Now, there are people who ended up hating Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I get it.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
Yeah.
But that is a true statement.
That is definitely true, especially when you got fucking Flea and who's the guitarist?
Frusciante? Is that his name?
Yeah, Frusciante.
He's
yeah.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, punk is not the tempo.
Yeah.
And Me First and Gimme Gimmes are tight musicians,
They're
like we said, but
super fucking tight.
tempo does not make something punk.
And I think that they probably are punk in their other bands.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
But that I'm not sold on. But,
yes.
But Schizophonics, one of the very best live bands I've ever seen.
We saw
they
the
fucking
Schizophonics,
put it
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And they're having such a good fucking time up there. So many fucking punk rock bands. They just look all mad and shit.
Yeah.
But every one of them, all three of them were having such a good fucking time up there. And that just translated so well. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to quote Kamala Harris, Schizophonics, thank you for bringing joy back to punk rock. So,
yeah, I will see them anytime they come around.
Yeah. All right, so today, wow, what can I say, man? This is not a fun topic.
No, it is not.
We are going to talk about Project 2025. Josh, who started or who founded Project 2025?
Well, Project 2025 was so Project 2025, a mandate, what is it? A mandate for leadership. This is the 10th mandate for leadership, as far as I know. First one was put out in 1980 for the Reagan administration by the Heritage Foundation. And the Heritage Foundation was founded in 1973 by Paul Weyrich, Edwin Fulner, and Joseph Coors, with Joseph Coors being the main funder and taking a lot of the startup money from the Adolf Coors Foundation, which is already off to a bad start.
Yeah, how do you not change your name if your name is Adolf?
Come on, Adolf.
Come on, man.
Yeah. So
much like Kellogg family,
right?
We've got the roots of something like this, starting with a right-wing billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wonder if they had billions at that time, but
Certainly a lot.
Essentially, yeah, they had a fucking enough.
Yeah.
Coors, the Coors family. Right. And what they started out as is they wanted to be similar to the American Enterprise Institute, which had started earlier, which was kind of influencing policy and things like that. They were basically the AEI was basically a pro-business, anti-communist outfit. And so they poured a lot of money into getting policy and initiatives going. But the Heritage Foundation wanted to be more than that. They also wanted to be influencing Christian cultural issues. So they wanted to influence American culture as well as be pro-business, anti-commie.
Right.
So that's kind of how they started.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, they really did, and they really hit their stride when they put out their first policy initiative or paper, the Mandate for Leadership in 1980. And
did Reagan adopt that?
Dude, He adopted, I think it was 63%. It was basically 2/3 of it. He adopted basically everything. Super proud of that whole fucking thing.
He was super proud.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't.
Are you saying you're super proud of Reagan, Josh?
Okay, Jesse.
You just said it, not me.
Motherfucker. Is that it? Did we just end the fucking podcast? That's it.
Sorry. My bad.
So they had 2,000 specific policy recommendations in that workup, and he adopted 60% of them. And actually, I think that they did more than that, but 60% were implemented before the end of his first year in office. So like he just fucking blew it up. Weirdly, one of the propositions in there that didn't get adopted was essentially the ACA, the Obamacare.
Oh, the Affordable Care Act.
Affordable Care Act.
Wait, that was
them.
Wait, you have to slow this down here.
Exactly. So they put out a paper on that, and Romney adopted it in 1989 for Massachusetts.
So I was reading that like the ACA, which infuriated so many right wingers, was actually Bob Dole's plan. So did Bob Dole adopt that from this organization?
Yes, that was a Heritage Foundation policy suggestion.
So there was actually a time in right wing think tanks where they believed in healthcare being affordable.
Well, ish. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's a very good deal. I think we got fucked.
No, single payer was the thing. I mean, Obama wanted single payer.
But this is
he
all
knew
he could
it would
get
never
through.
fly.
And so he adopted basically the Heritage Foundation's concept of healthcare for America, which is still too fucking liberal for these nut jobs out there today.
Of course.
So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because, gotta give credit.
So you're saying there's good things about Project 2025.
They're okay, dude. The Heritage Foundation is just fucking fine.
Yeah.
And then initially, moving along, so they've put out basically a policy paper for every election. So it's 10 of them, 81 through 24. Initially, they were against Trump. They changed their minds once he secured the nomination for the Republican Party. So they went all in. Basically, they go all in for whoever the conservative guy is. Because these mandates for leadership are not specifically for the conservative people, but functionally, that's the only people that take it seriously.
Well, we joke about some of these Christian voters being morons, but let's be fair that some of them are bright. And there's plenty of Christians, I think, that really did sell their soul because they knew Trump could forward their agenda. Meaning they didn't even necessarily like Trump.
No, they don't give a fuck about that.
Or they saw him as a liar. They saw him as the same way we did, but they understood that it would further their agenda.
He was a tool.
Right.
Yeah. In more ways than one.
Yeah.
But, let's see. So there was a minimum of 66 Heritage Foundation people that got hired into the Trump administration after they decided to support him. And 64% of their policies and proposals were put into action under his watch.
Right.
So again, another Reagan-sized chunk of shit got thrown at the wall and stuck.
And don't forget, I mean, hasn't Trump disavowed any knowledge of Project 2025? Or basically lied about his knowledge of it?
He's completely lied about it. Yeah, absolutely. He's tried to distance himself from it because he knows that it's a losing proposition. But he also knows that, that's why he told the fucking Christians, look, just vote this next time. You won't have to vote again after that, right? I mean, that's wise because all these policies get put into place. The popular vote will never win again, right? That's what it is. Because, I mean, if you look at it, there's 500,000 people that are members of the Heritage Foundation, which works out to about 0.15% of the population. Even if, there's 100 different fucking groups that also sign on to Project 2025. You're talking like the fucking, the Family Research Council.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just all the fucking worst motherfuckers. American Enterprise Institute, all these people fucking sign on to this shit. And
it's like if you want to start an evil group in this country, you got to attach the word family to it. Like,
family or values, right?
Values,
those are the things.
Totally.
But so even if you throw, 2 zeros on there, you're looking at like 15% of the population subscribes to these ideas. The rest of the population is adamantly against it. They want control of reproductive rights. They want LGBT, all that. They want those rights. They want women's rights. It's like all these things. The vast majority of the population is in support of those things, of leftish proposals. Not,
well, certainly not extremist.
Not extremist.
Yeah.
But take care of your fucking people, man. Right? And everything about Project 2025 is taking the power out of majority and putting it into the minority's hands and screwing the rest of them. Fuck them. Especially if you have, a non-Christian kind of idea about things.
Well, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, and like, had Project 2025 furthered the Muslim agenda,
oh yeah,
there would be an all-out riots in this country.
Yeah, everybody'd fucking
it would be
lose
a fucking freak out.
Mind. Yeah.
But the fact that it's Christian means it's great.
Yeah.
And again, I want to point this out. Evangelicals, when our country was founded, were the most strident for the separation of church and state because those evangelicals had fled religious tyranny in other countries.
Yeah.
So evangelicals went from the greatest supporters of the separation of church and state to this bullshit.
To whatever the fuck it is now. Yeah. Yeah, and in October of 21, the incoming president of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, who was formerly of the Texas Public Policy Foundation, which
that sounds bad.
That's all bad.
Again, family, Texas, these words are not good.
If you threw values in there, you'd have the trifecta of death. But he stated the role of the Heritage Foundation as institutionalizing Trumpism. Like they went all fucking in. And that's October of 2021. So it was probably the loss in 2020 that really started driving him over there. I think so. Originally, they supported Ukraine. That changed in May of 2022, which caused a lot of the old school Heritage Foundation people to leave. Like a lot of
was
people
that a
quit.
reaction to Trump sidling up to Russia's dictator?
I think I do.
Because there was a time, remember, when everyone hated commies
with
and the idea of and that Ukraine would have been something we would have absolutely funded 30 or 40 years ago.
Fuck, the Republicans would have been all over that shit until the mid 2000s probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think with the recent revelations about right-wing media being funded essentially by Putin and the Russian government, I don't see why that money didn't make its way into the Heritage Foundation.
Sure.
I haven't seen any proof of that, but when I put those things together,
it's not a ridiculous.
I don't see why
corollary.
Yeah, I really don't see it. Especially, I mean, with the tenant media shit that just went down last week.
What was the tenant media shit?
Okay. So, the tenant media is a group that has people on there: Laura Southern, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, and basically, these were all kind of right-wing nut jobs out there, spewing basically Russian talking points anyway, and dividing America as best they could. It turns out that they were being funded by fucking Russia. Like they're getting $400,000 a month to put out podcasts parroting Russian talking points coming against Ukraine, talking about how basically the blacks are coming from your job, or for your job. They like all of these talking points that Russia's been putting out. They're trying to destroy democracy, and we can get into that in a little bit as to why that is. But like that's what they're doing. And the Heritage Foundation, I think, is fully in on it. I can't say for sure, but I would bet that there's Russian money going into the Heritage Foundation now.
Yeah, it seems right.
Especially since you don't just have to disclose where all the money comes from, and they only have 500,000 members. They're not getting. I mean, they have some big donors, I'm sure.
Sure.
But I also think that they're on the fucking take, man.
Is Elon Musk in any way related to the Heritage Foundation, or not at all?
Not overtly.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, but I also do know that X was funded. His takeover of Twitter was funded by Russian oligarchs. So, and all of his fucking talking points are straight out of the Kremlin too.
All right.
I mean, this is fucking crazy.
So they're
right?
in bed whether or not it's official or not.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Either way, they are parroting those talking points across the board.
This is a kind of a bizarre world we live
It
in
is
now.
fucking
I mean, if you
insane,
think
dude.
of Ukraine, during the Reagan era and before Reagan, Ukraine would have been just trumpeted to the heavens as this just, society trying to be free, and we would have funded them. And it's just so crazy.
And all the shit that they talk about the Maidan revolution as being a fucking NATO plot, and that's why Russia had to go in there and stop them and take fucking Crimea. Oh, and it's there, dude. It's insane. I'm taking crazy pills. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I don't know what's happening right now. It's topsy turvy. So
it's so fucking crazy. And now listen to this. This is a quote from the fucking National Review, which is not a bastion of liberalism,
Sure.
if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Heritage Foundation, by far the most quoted DC think tank in Russian media, and even worse, certain arguments from Heritage Foundation research are becoming frequently quoted on propaganda sites run by the Russian government and Putin's allies. The fucking National Review is saying this, right? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
I can't even fucking believe. I can't believe it.
No. It's nuts. And I have a joke that's not going to work at all, but I had to say it out loud. Having done all this research, I've watched a lot of, some interesting people talking about Project 2025. I did some reading, but I always like to watch some video too, consume both kind of things. And more than once, people called it a think tank. Given the brain power involved here, shouldn't it be called a think thimble or a think paper cup? I don't know. I just think tank seemed a bit impressive to me.
Yeah,
I don't know how much thinking is going on here.
Yeah,
so, dumb joke, but I had to say it out loud.
No, I was trying to come up with a think tank joke, but I'm just all
as you can
mad,
tell,
dude.
they're all going to fail.
Yeah.
So, should we get into the weeds on Project 2025, like some of the tenets of 2025, or are you still?
I got more on these.
Oh, you got some more.
I got more on these fucking bastards because like these. I didn't think that I was going to come up with as much as I did to put into this podcast, but I think that this is all pretty fucking necessary.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, the Heritage Foundation has also started another think tank with their pals Viktor Orban. So Hungary has started up their own think tank, merging their shit with the Heritage Foundation, which is another reason why I think they're on the take from Russia.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense why they would do that. I mean, he's an autocrat. His whole dude. All right. So the other thing, like earlier this year, fucking Viktor Orban came to the United States, did not meet with Biden, met with Trump, and went to the fucking Heritage Foundation and had closed-door meetings with him.
Wow.
And I'm sure they came up with policy proposals. They were talking, just all.
Tell the listeners who Viktor Orban is.
Viktor Orban is the president of Hungary, and he is Putin's buddy. He is currently facilitating peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, which is bullshit. He's just fucking buying time for Putin.
He's just a lackey.
He's a lackey. And he's basically, you have all these right-wing people that talk about what a fucking great president, a great leader Viktor Orban is, but he is an autocrat. They fucking stole that country fucking blind. It's led by oligarchs. It's not a fucking democracy. He, in fact, is proud to call it an illiberal democracy.
Okay.
Right? He is a bad fucking man.
He is. And I think before you move on, you did touch on something kind of spectacularly bizarre there, because you said that Orban came to America and didn't even meet with Biden.
Didn't meet with him, dude.
If that's not unprecedented, I'm not sure. The idea of a foreign leader coming to this country and not meeting with the president seems insane to me.
It's fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
Even if it was an unintentional slight, right? But it wasn't. It was a huge breach of protocol.
Yeah.
So this is a fucking problem. And I know that there's, of course, I can't think of the name of the statute that there is in place for these kinds of things, but meeting with a representative of another country as passing yourself off as a representative of this country is illegal. And Trump's done that on numerous occasions.
Right.
And the fucking Heritage Foundation allowing him into their closed door fucking meeting, Fuck that. These people are traitors.
They know better than that, right?
Hell
if they gave
yeah.
a shit about democracy, they would say, "Have you met with Biden yet?"
Well, no, they wouldn't even take a meeting. They
Right.
you don't fucking take a phone call
Right.
until after he
Because
meets
of
with the fucking leader of the
appearance of
country.
impropriety.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fucking insane. Oh man,
Josh's blood is all angry up today.
fucking get me all hot.
You
here.
did a lot of work on this, I must say. We are not getting paid. I mean, podcasts should be free. I believe that.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Then again, you are not getting paid enough for this because you spent a lot of hours. Tell me how many hours do you think you spent on this today, or getting ready for this research?
Over the course of the week, probably 10 or 12 hours. Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm sorry,
fuck. Man. Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, I feel like Project 2025 is the Heritage Foundation's plan to institute an autocratic theocracy in America. It really, it lays it out. It's white Christian nationalist rule over the country.
Right.
Fuck everybody else.
And last week, we were discussing the nuances between, let's say, racists, oligarchs, and Nazis. Right. We were talking about, let's separate these two things. The one is just a fascist oligarch. The other one's a Nazi. Well, sure, absolutely. A difference. But let's say Trump gets elected. Hopefully that's not going to happen. Let's say Project 2025 is completely entrenched in our government in the next 10, 20 years. Aside from hurting up Jews and murdering them en masse, it is Nazi Germany sans the murder.
Right.
Because everything else is in place.
But I mean, what you're seeing that across the world right now in general.
Fascism's definitely
fascism is coming
in fashion
back
right now. So
I mean, Anne Applebaum's book Autocracy Inc., and I know I've mentioned it on here before, is an amazing book, and it lays out the basis for what's happening. Kind of rough on how to make it stop, but there's certain things we can do.
I know one way to make it stop: make America, which used to be the shining beacon of democracy, strong again.
Yeah, I mean, to use fucking Reagan's goddamn line, "Shining beacon on the hill."
Yeah,
not now, man. Shining city on the hill.
Shining turd on the hill.
The worst part about this is that Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, I mean, explicitly said this. I mean, he said the Second American Revolution is happening, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Fuck that piece of shit, dude. Fuck him in the ass. God damn it, motherfucker. Yeah. Really, I mean, he said that on fucking screen.
Yeah, and although, I mean, and the thing is, of course, it's outrageous, and yet he's telling the truth. Everything he said is true right there. I mean, the liberals are letting it happen.
I mean, I think that they once this Project 2025 finally got out there and people started looking at it, which took way too long. This has been out for a couple years at this point. They should have been out there, but they have actually, I think, started kind of moving on it, and they're realizing just how bad it is, and they've got armies of actual fucking lawyers.
Well, ACLU has taken obviously the lead too. They're going to be prosecuting a bunch of these things with or without Trump being elected.
I mean, I think that it's going to take more than just that.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
absolutely. It's going to take some big money too.
It's going to take some stuff.
Does this? You said that real quick. Project 2025 is like a 900 something page document.
920.
Does that mean it's the assemblage of all these papers they've written over the years for all these elections?
No. It's
all brand new.
This is for this year.
Okay.
This is for 2025.
Right.
Now, Trump can try and distance himself all he fucking wants from this.
Right.
But on a 920-page document, his name is in there 312 times.
Okay.
312
he doesn't
times.
know anything about it.
30% of the pages mention his name, right? I mean, that's fucking pretty damning.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something I don't think that is out there enough.
Are you implying that he's lying? Josh.
Dude, if his mouth is open, he's fucking lying.
How dare you, sir?
Just a shit mouth,
him of lying.
Motherfucker. I mean, this whole thing is about revenge and white nationalist theocratic strongman rule. This is putting us in line with fucking Hungary, Iran, Modi's India, North Korea, Venezuela, and Russia.
Yep.
I mean, and then there's other countries too that are kind of heading in this direction, and then the African nations, which are just pillaged by just fucking strongmen. It's pretty awful.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this is kind of an aside, but people should be looking into Sudan and what's happening there right now. It's a real fucking tragedy. It's probably one of the worst things that's happening in the world right now. I mean, we've got it bad, but fucking Sudan. It's awful.
Absolutely.
But with all this, right, I feel like, they're learning, right? This is in place now, because I think the one that they put out for 2016 was basically just focused on policy. And so once Trump got in there, they really didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They do now. And they're putting in the bureaucratic structure to fucking implement all of these fucking things. And the real issue is the first 180 days. Like, they have a plan for the 180-day playbook, right? That's one of their four pillars. Their, 4 pillars of this Project 2025 is the policy agenda, the personnel database, which is where they're putting a loyalist database together to replace all of the
that's the people that are going to sign up to be replacement workers for the ones that they're going to fire from their jobs.
The 50,000 people that they plan on firing. And then the training effort, which is part of, that's what you were looking at, some of those videos that you were looking at. I looked at a couple of them too. I couldn't watch them, dude. They were so fucking boring. Oh my God.
Boring. How could something simultaneously be boring and terrifying?
And evil, yes. I mean, I guess that's it, the banality of evil, right?
Exactly.
And then the fourth pillar is the playbook of action, which is the first 180 days. Now, the thing about that is that they haven't even released that yet. The person that was in charge of writing that said, oh, it's not ready yet, which means that they're hiding it. They're totally hiding it. So we don't know exactly what they have planned for the first 180 days, but they're going to move fucking fast and hard to get this in. And they've got the Supreme Court to fucking back them up on it. That's the other thing, is they have the fucking judicial.
Right. Fast is the key, because if they want this to all work, they've got to do it before legal challenges are blockading some of their efforts. Yeah.
So, and they understand just how fucking unpopular this whole fucking thing is. They know that they are in the minority, and they know that once this gets in, shit's going to the streets, and they're going to have to shut it down. Martial law. It's like, these are the things that's where it's all going to go fucking hard.
Yep. But it's not an important election. Don't vote if you don't want to. I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, it's just our democracy and our freedom. Yeah. Stay home if you want.
Yeah.
I go, and shall we, just for fun, repeat the canard that both parties are the same?
Shut up.
I mean, really, I swear to God, the next time someone says that to me, I'm going to make them outline how they're the same.
You explain to me how that's the same.
Really, they're all the same. Can you explain to me how they're all the same? Or is that something you heard over and over again and keep saying it?
Right. I mean, and I get like maybe 20 years ago saying that.
Oh, absolutely, especially with Clinton and the let's say middle of the road Democrats, right? Yeah. There was very little difference. Maybe 30 or 40 years ago.
Clinton essentially was a fucking Republican, but he played saxophone.
Sure,
that was the difference, right? And he wore fucking Wayfarers.
The jazz man,
fucking guy, first black president. God damn it. So that's my my intro to it, my Heritage Foundation. Yeah. I will say that basically they're agenda first, action later. They don't come up with there's no moral thing to it. They have an agenda that they want to institute and they want to put it in. And for some reason I wrote down, I was calling them the Armani Confederates.
Because they're also rich, you mean?
Because they're rich and they're basically the Confederacy. I mean, the South is rising again with these motherfuckers. That's what's happening. The South is fucking rising again.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a tangent, but the first time I went to buy an interview suit, do you ever go to the Men's Warehouse?
Yeah. I
love that place. Because that was the first time I went to a real tailor. And I really appreciated all the good customer service they have there. They really know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, they know how to sell a suit.
I swear to God, this is somewhat related. So he goes, well, what are you looking for? What kind of look? And I said, well, I do want an interview suit. And man, I would love to look like Bobby Sitzwitz on NYPD Blue. And he goes, oh, that's a $2,000 Armani suit. I don't know that you have the budget for that. I'm like, no, you're damn right I don't. So
thanks for noticing, pal.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, you were saying that there's very little moralism involved in that. It's just policy, not.
It's they have an idea of what they want this country to be run like. That they have an agenda that they want to put into place, and they're going to figure out how to do it, and damn everything that gets in their way. It's just I can't believe it. I mean, it's the Heritage Foundation is fucking truly like an evil group, right? At least. No, I'd say since its inception, because its inception, it was put in place to promote a white Christian nationalist
over everything.
government.
Not
over
just
everything.
promote it, right? Make it the dominant force in this country, which it is.
Institute it and its policies.
Yeah.
And they have been doing this since then. I mean, I was looking in to see how close the Federalist Society was to them, but they weren't founded until 1981, I think.
Sure.
So it was a bit later, but I think that they were put into place to give a legal framework for this agenda as well. So I don't know, I can't say for sure that they were founded, in cahoots, but I do see them aiming for the same thing, which is how they got to judiciary, the Supreme Court fucking stacked, and a big chunk of Southern federal judges, things like that. They've all been taken from the Federalist Society. So I mean, this is two planks right here that are fucking. We got to fucking change shit.
Well, it's funny because Biden and some Democrats have talked about expanding the Supreme Court. Now, I'm no legal scholar, but can I just say my objection, which is that expanding it doesn't remove the morons that break the law to circumvent. So, for example, Obama should have appointed 2 Supreme Court justices, if I'm saying that right.
Mitch McConnell should be fucking killed.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
he's a straight up fucking traitor.
Expand the court for what? So they can find other ways to cheat and get their own justices on there?
To stack it. Well, I mean, I think that the idea that he's also kicking around is term limits.
Right.
Which maybe with those two things, expansion and term limits, you might be able to make a difference on it. But I don't see how any of that can happen unless the Democrats win a giant fucking majority in everything. That's it. Otherwise, I think the Supreme Court's done for 40 years.
But to your point, I mean, Mitch McConnell, the moment Barack Obama was elected, traitor, piece of shit, Mitch McConnell essentially said, not essentially, he did say,
he said it out
we will
loud.
fight Barack Obama on every level, on every policy from the moment he takes office.
We won't pass anything.
So that's un-American.
Yeah, well, I mean.
That is a traitor, right? He's saying, I don't believe in democracy. I don't believe in, that's the thing about a lot of, Republicans were strong-armed to vote for the Civil Rights Act in the 60s.
Yeah.
This was not the same in the 60s and the 50s.
No, it was not.
And doesn't mean racism didn't exist and racist senators didn't exist, but people really did work together.
Yeah.
There wasn't this not avarice, but acrimony between the parties like there is now.
Yeah, it was a lot different.
Yes, absolutely. So there's some pretty scary things about 2025. You want to go through some of these bullets? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my notes. I know you've got your notes.
Well, I thought this was interesting. So increased funding for a wall on the U.S.-Mexican border is not really a big shock.
No, that's pretty, I would imagine.
What I thought was pretty shocking was that it would allow for fast-tracking applicants for migrants who pay a premium.
Yeah, of course, people with money.
So if you want to know the level of ways that they're going to fuck you over for 2025, even the rich immigrants have a shot because they're rich.
Yeah.
So if you're rich, you can pay a premium to get in.
Money talks.
Otherwise, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So,
and that also, I mean, that because they're essentially a party of idiots, grifters, and Russian assets, right? It's that they're going to take money to get you in here. They're going to take money to get you out of trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, all this shit, all this stuff in here about limiting women's rights and their choices. Their women aren't going to have to worry about it.
No, of course not.
I mean,
that's much the way that rich women will always have access to abortion.
Right.
The rules don't apply to the rich.
Yeah. Again.
But if you're not rich, they will target immigrant communities through mass deportations, raids, ending birthright citizenship, separating families, and dismantling our nation's asylum system.
I've also heard that they're talking about setting up concentration camps, immigration camps,
of course,
on military bases, and using the military to go in, basically deputizing military, National Guard, anybody to round up illegal immigrants. I mean, it'll be terror raids.
Yeah,
It's insane.
It's this bullets, and there's several of them. It's like if someone said, "Write a horrible list of things we could do to Americans."
Yeah.
This would be it.
Write a dystopian future for America, right here.
It's almost unbelievable how accurately this reflects the most oppressive, horrible things that people want to do to this country.
Yeah, it is everything. This is a policy paper for all of those things.
Yeah, slashing federal money for research and investment in renewable energy. Why would we want to do that?
Well, and also, I mean, not just that, but they're also increasing funding for fracking.
Yes.
Drilling in Alaska,
Yes.
Drilling in the Arctic. I mean,
They're going to double down on all the energy resources that we have.
Right. And make it more difficult to invest in alternative energy, although they will qualify nuclear energy as alternative energy. And
Yes.
my apologies to all you people out there that think that fucking nuclear is green, but bullshit. That it doesn't put out fucking carbon, but it puts out a big chunk of shit that doesn't go away.
Every energy source has a cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
People love EVs, but I mean, disposing of
Those
chemicals
batteries.
that are in those batteries is
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
So everything has a cost. That's why cold fusion was such a pipe dream for scientists, right? Because cold fusion, the idea is that the emissions would be oxygen. So,
Right. Well, and that's hydrogen, right?
Sorry, hydrogen,
Yeah,
yes,
hydrogen. Because
yeah.
cold fusion, they just finally actually produced some cold fusion a little while ago.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I don't think it'll last.
Okay.
There's too much work on that one. Anyway, that's fucking. Neither here nor there.
I mean, I got insidious after insidious bullet point. Do you want to name a couple?
So,
I mean,
I have this thing that I have here from Stop the Q 2025.
Right.
It basically breaks it down into each of the chapters.
Sure.
And chapter 1 is the White House, right? And so basically it's put an activist conservative White House council in place. And all of the employees of the federal government that they put into place, well, actually, all federal employees will be activists because they will be vetted for loyalty to Trump. The problem here is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the president, the executive branch, all powerful. Doesn't matter about any of the other. It takes away all of the checks and balances that are written into the Constitution.
yeah.
The executive branch can do whatever the fuck it wants.
Well, it's
And-
allowing it to circumvent Congress and the Senate.
and it has the Supreme Court backing.
Yeah.
Now it does. And even if it didn't, it basically eliminates them unless they take loyalty oaths. This is all about loyalty
Sure.
to the fucking president.
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to get away from the kings, right? What the
No.
fuck is this bullshit?
Apparently not.
These fucking traitors, fucking sacks of shit, dude.
Well, we have several episodes. I was saying, essentially, if you're incredulous about how someone could feel this way, the answer is, I got mine, now go get yours. They don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit.
They got theirs. Good luck getting yours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the other thing is that you have as the White House still you invite outside conservative legal advice to the White House. So you're bringing people in with conservative views to give you advice on how to do things legally. So you have the whole Federalist Society at your fucking fingertips to tell you how to phrase things in order to get it passed.
Right. To how to phrase things so you can break the law.
So, whatever law you're breaking, it comes
It's
across
legally
as
defensible.
some sort of legal basis
Yeah,
to it.
absolutely.
Yeah. And they're considering limiting mainstream press access to the White House. So, of course, it shut down the fucking Fourth Estate, right?
Yep. Well, that's kind of happened already.
Yeah,
I mean, do we have free press in this country?
No. Well,
There's Politico, right? There's places that are independent press.
yeah,
But how much access do they have? I don't know. I mean,
right.
you're not going to get killed in this country in 2024 for writing something bad about Trump. But as far as media access to these things, obviously they really have honed this into very specific organizations that are right wing or not. It's pretty crazy.
And to kind of put a point on that, the whole thing is putting into place a revenge machine.
Right.
So if you do write something bad about fucking President Trump in the future, they can come and fucking, legal you to death, essentially. Yes. They won't be able to lock you up, but they will be able to fucking put you through a ringer legally.
Make you not want to be a reporter anymore.
Right. I mean, take away all of your rights, take away your money, put you in jail. Like there are plans to make
murder's not on the table. Murder's not on the table, but certainly everything else is.
I mean, I wouldn't take it off the table. I mean, I feel like
if you have unlimited power, what's to stop it?
What's to stop it?
Yeah.
And I mean, death penalty for everything. One of the things that they're talking about doing is immediately upon, first 180 days, killing everybody on death row and the federal death row. That's another, like killing everybody.
Josh, here's the thing. Murder is wrong, Josh. So to prove that, I'm going to murder this guy.
Murder the fuck out of you.
Yeah, dude, you're so murdered. Oh, but by the way, it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's just relentless madness.
It really is. For example, Project 2025 does not actually eliminate abortion.
Right.
It makes it very difficult to access. So I'm going to ask you what the difference is between those two because I don't really know. If you're poor living in Georgia, you can't drive to California to get an abortion. That's not happening.
Well, but they're also talking about putting a federal database in place for that and keeping track of all abortions in every state. Yeah. Who got them? At what stage of pregnancy did they get them?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with that list? You're just making a list? You're checking it twice? No, you're fucking making a list to come after these fucking poor fucking people, man.
Yep.
So, my friend, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but she recommended that we have a drinking game.
Oh, okay.
Where every time I say fuck, people take a drink.
I said a lot of fucks the last episode. So
I just said that's like fucking alcohol poisoning.
Yeah,
somebody's gonna fucking.
We're
die.
Just gonna die. This is a little funny. Project 2025 exploits the executive branch's vast and unprecedented powers to spy on Americans' lives with warrantless surveillance of our data. That's the Patriot Act.
Everything.
I mean, real quick here. This is part of Project 2025, but in 2008, with the Patriot Act, it's never been revoked. We are already spying on every bit of data that's sent and received from every single citizen.
Now, I think
they're computers analyzing that, not people.
But I think that the Patriot Act has to be renewed every year.
Oh, it does.
I think, or not every year,
but did it ever get shut down though?
No.
I mean, I don't think it. Why would they?
That's the thing.
Once people seize power, they don't let it go.
But that implements it for good. It signs it up for good.
I see.
There is no,
as opposed to being
voting
every
on
year.
it. Right.
Okay.
I don't know if it's every year or if it's every couple of years, whatever it is. Yeah.
We have to talk about this a little bit here. Do the knuckle draggers that vote for Trump understand that Project 2025 will outlaw pornography?
Dude,
I don't think they know that.
I don't think that they know that either. That's one that should be fucking like trumpeted from the top of buildings, dude.
Yeah. If you vote for Trump, you're going to vote for censoring.
No porn, baby. No porn.
But you said this is just a means for what? So you said that making pornography illegal is just a catalyst for something else.
So it's instituting the Comstock Act, or starting to enforce the Comstock Act again, which was a law passed in the 1800s sometime that basically made it illegal to send obscene material across state lines. And so
for example, mailing a Playboy.
Mailing a Playboy, see, the thing about obscenity is that's not defined. Who claims what's obscene?
Right.
So basically, they're instituting reinstituting the Comstock Act, and then eventually, what that'll apply to is mifepristone and other abortion drugs.
Yeah.
Probably, and they're talking abortion pills, Plan B. I don't see why they wouldn't stop there and also outlaw birth control.
It's Plan B is the morning after drug.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I mean, why would they stop?
Why would they stop? Why would they stop? So it's fucking bad, dude.
It's so
Jesus
bad.
Fucking
it's
Christ.
Not good at all. It would also eliminate the education department.
Yes.
Project 2025.
And it would allow all federal money to be used for charter schools and religious schools. So,
yes.
Which I know I've said this. there should be no homeschooling. There should be no private schools. All schools should be run by the fucking state. I do not fucking care, because you get these the chart. Oh, God damn it, dude.
Well, I mean, okay, so our son did not enjoy high school.
Nobody enjoys high school, dude. High school fucking blows.
So here's the thing. There's two things here. Should radical Christians be allowed to indoctrinate their children into hate and lies? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, did you see?
I don't think that forcing kids to go to school is a bad thing.
No.
The problem is school needs to be overhauled.
Sure.
School's its own other kind of subject.
Sure.
It's based on a factory model, from 1910, wherein you have to have permission to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Bells send you everywhere. You're in the middle of a great book and a bell goes off and you have to stop reading it. So there's a lot of things that have to be overhauled. And yet, if it's compulsory that we have to get a driver's license, that we have to pay insurance, there's a lot of things that are compulsory in this country. A public education is for the betterment of our entire society. So circumnavigating around that is not so great.
No, and because what you're doing is you're taking away funding for the schools, and you're making it so that it's impossible to, keep up on education and to keep up on the curriculum and keep up on best strategies for educating kids. You eliminate all that money, you put it in. It's the fucking privatization of everything. That's what another thing about this is, it fucking privatizes everything,
which is bad.
Fuck yeah,
private
dude.
Prisons, garbage.
Slave mills,
hospitals being monetized instead of used for healthcare is insane.
And they're talking about using instead of doing mandating insurance, they're making it easier to have health savings accounts. Which is who fucking cares? You're still going to go fucking broke.
Absolutely. And if they're talking about eliminating the education department, obviously school lunches are on the table too. They're going to eliminate school lunches.
Oh no, they don't give a fuck about.
And I mean,
that.
let's talk about that. There's a lot of poor kids in this country whose only decent meal is a school lunch.
Yeah.
And that's why people have worked so hard to protect them, is that there are a lot of kids living on the fringe who are in very poor households who cannot rely on a single meal except their school lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, you think we have a problem with homelessness now?
Dude.
Wait till you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are starving.
Here's what I have on the Department of Education. This is Chapter 11.
Okay.
Right. So cut the Department of Education as a cabinet level agency, reordered a chain of command, and put loyalists in charge. That sounds good.
Oh, awesome.
Redirect federal dollars to state and local governments, champion alternatives to liberal higher education schools, private charter, trade, technical, and faith-based institutions. Now, I do believe that they should be putting more into trade and technical schools. I think that that's true, but everything else, but nothing about this.
No, trade and technical schools are awesome.
Right. And they should actually, I mean, they should be focusing on that as much as they are focusing on 4-year degrees. I fully believe that half the population doesn't need to go to college to get a job. Get educated in the trades, get technical training.
No, I work at a junior college. I mean, you can go to school practically for free.
Yeah.
Come out with a 2-year certificate, get a job welding in a union job pretty easily. No, and there's not everybody's meant to go to a 4-year college. No. I get it. It makes a lot of sense.
It would also reverse Biden's student loan forgiveness program and crack down on loan enforcement, eliminate the equity and diversity regulations in Title IX and Title VI, and then set up a parental savings account program to fund parent school choice, boost parental control of classroom discussions, and disclosure of school information to parents.
Oh, goody. Let's let parents have more input.
Dude.
So what they mean is stop teaching about slavery.
Well, stop teaching about slavery. There was just a lawsuit that was kicked out of court last week where somebody fucking was suing because they were teaching evolution and it was against their religious beliefs. It was a violation of their religious freedom. Thrown out. Thank fucking shit.
Jesus
Christ.
Well, we were talking about this last week. Republicans love to tell you that racism's not a thing in this country anymore.
Yeah.
However,
says the racist.
Project 2025 would censor academic discussions about race, gender, and systemic oppression in violation of the First Amendment and promising to cut federal funding to schools with curricula that touch on these subjects.
Yeah.
So it's both over and not a thing anymore, and we're going to stop you from talking about it.
And dangerous.
Yeah.
Come on, make up your fucking mind. Nothing about this is consistent, though. Obviously, this is not a consistent fucking thing.
Sure.
This is pure agenda.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, where are we going next?
I don't, Jesus, man. Okay, so let's since we've got a little pause here. I did watch some videos. You successfully avoided them.
I started one where, dude, I can't remember what he was talking about. I'm like,
was it that weirdo who was a Catholic priest with a big old beard and a giant cross?
He was just some fat white guy talking.
Wait, he's white?
Yeah, imagine that.
Say it's not so.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't.
The other day they had some women of color who were voting for Trump on TV, and I was watching it, and they're like, yeah, we need someone in the White House who represents us. And it's like, if you try to find a polar opposite of you and someone else, it would be Donald Trump. Someone who represents you, a rich oligarch from New York who was spoon-fed, who never worked a day in his life, represents you? I don't think so.
Whose family kicked black people out of housing.
Is that right?
Yeah. Fred Trump was a fucking bad man.
That was his dad. That was his dad. Yeah.
He and Trump did, and old dumpster fire fucking McFuckface did the same thing.
Yeah.
They both, like, they set it up. They would find, black man in their fucking building. Oh yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I remember I've heard the term fuck landlords for a while, but boy, landlords are really, that's, there's all these groups scooping up giant amounts of property and just jacking up the rent.
Oh yeah,
so
those companies should be put out of business.
Absolutely,
yeah,
100%.
That's why rent's so high. That's why, and they just got busted because they would run their rent through algorithms in order to find out to coordinate raising rents.
So that's called a monopoly.
It's collusion in a monopoly.
Absolutely.
These motherfuckers, dude, fuck that. BlackRock. There's a couple I can't remember all of them, but yeah, these fucking people, they should be.
So real quick, ProPublica, which is a independent nonprofit newsroom that produces investigative journalism with a moral force, essentially, ProPublica located several, if not all, these training videos. So these training videos, once Project 2025 gets instituted, they're being used now, but essentially the idea is that you can send these training videos out to the loyalists in.
Well, that's the fourth pillar. That's
right.
The fourth pillar, or not the fourth. One of the four pillars is these training materials.
Right. And we talked about the Catholic weirdo I was talking about earlier, who was talking about how to address the media. So one of the things I watched was this. Oh God, an hour. It felt like 10 hours.
Dude, that's
these
rough.
Two awful, pasty, nasty women talking about ways that you can craft the language back towards their cause, basically.
Right.
They kept saying things like, liberals are excellent at weaponizing words. And it's like, do you hear what you're saying right now? No one has been better than the right wing for weaponizing language.
Yeah.
The right wing has crushed the left in the last 50 years in utilizing language against the opposition, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
No one is better than Republicans at crafting language. They are amazing.
And they always co-opt it too, right?
Right.
They take the left's language and use it against them.
Right.
And that's what I'm assuming this fucking video is all about.
So these ladies were talking about ways that you can craft language back to the right wing, how you can disseminate left-wing nonsense and gear it back towards white Christianity. And I had to mention a couple of the examples these ladies used. One lady, she said that she'd heard that children as early as preschool were being given sex education. And they don't mean sex education. They mean positive towards LGBTQ.
Indoctrination
nasty
is what they
sex
mean.
is what they mean.
Right.
So if you listen to these ladies, children as young as preschool are being indoctrinated into sex education. To call that a lie gives a bad name to lies. There's nowhere that's happening.
Well, it's just like this abortions after birth thing. What the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. These same ladies, one of them claimed that abortion was being promoted as the best birth control.
Jesus Christ.
Planned Parenthood has said for decades now, we're about birth control and birth control options. If Planned Parenthood had its way, there would be no abortions. They're not pro-abortion, they're pro-birth control. And to say that anyone is saying that the abortion should be your number one birth control option, again, To call that a lie would be
It's
giving
just
lies a bad name.
It's just fucking insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, another thing they claimed, I thought that was hilarious, I thought you would like this, was that climate change has been disproved by science.
I hate these people.
Climate change has been disproved by science.
So, okay, did they talk about what science they were talking about?
They didn't. I didn't see any mention of a scientist that had disproved global warming.
Okay, because there's some
But they
assholes
did.
out there that fucking do it, but they're hired by the fucking
By the oil
fossil-
companies.
Yeah, right.
Yes, absolutely. So they did go on and on about global warming, and they did mention a lot of the anecdotal nonsense that these idiots like to repeat.
Yeah.
About it was the coldest winter ever last year. You know, can you find a couple of anecdotal bits that would seem like global warming was not a, because another thing they mentioned was they said, oh, you know, in the 70s it was acid rain, and they mentioned these other panics that supposedly went away, and this is just another.
They went away because of the EPA. You fucking stupid bitches.
Exactly.
Oh my god! And you know that you get the same thing with the fucking ozone hole, the hole in ozone. Well, that's because they made CFCs illegal.
Right. That's basically everything that was sprayed used CFCs and chlorofluorocarbons. I can't even say it. Fluorocarbons. Yeah. But I mean, they eliminated that from all spray bottles.
Right.
So that
and
helped.
they replaced refrigerants with something that was less CFC.
Yep.
I mean, it's just so fucking disingenuous.
It's insane.
And I know that like these people know better. They fucking know better. The people that are hearing it, maybe they don't.
Right.
And
so the women in this video,
pure grift. Dude.
They have to know what's real and what isn't.
Yeah, like
but
that
like you
stuff.
said, they're preying on people that don't.
When your wife asked about if these people are true believers,
Yeah,
they absolutely are fucking true believers, but they're pure fucking grift. Like they know better when they're saying this to people, and they know that they're going to fucking fool people into believing it.
They just have to say enough, things about, queer people and transgender people. They just need to like do the racist and homophobic dog whistles, and people will do their bidding.
Yeah,
as we found out.
Yeah, so here's I'm going to go into chapter 14 just real quick because this is on the Department of Health and Human Services. Sure. Abortion is not health care. It harms women and girls. Ban mifepristone and outlaw mailing it. That'll be the Comstock Act. Ban the morning after pill. Remove all funding from Planned Parenthood. Prevent Medicaid from paying for abortions. This one fucking. Promote the rhythm method for contraception. It's like, fuck, dude. Ban fertility treatments such as 3-person embryo creation. Marriage and family should be defined by friend of the pod, the Bible.
So that would be the only definition of marriage and family.
Marriage and family, yeah. And then on sex and gender, sex is binary. Any challenge to this is junk science. I mean, they'll just take out gender entirely because, I mean, that's what they're trying to address there is the idea that there is infinite number of genders, and fluid, all that stuff. That they like to conflate the two because it makes it fucking difficult for people to know what the hell's going on, what they're talking about. Gender affirming care causes irreversible physical and mental harm. And then insurance, this is part of the Health and Human Services. Turn Medicare into a free market program, which is always a good idea.
Everything free market is good.
Make people pay for some care under Medicaid. Put lifetime caps on Medicaid benefits. Now, I seem to remember them complaining about death panels. That sounds like a fucking death panel to me. If
you're basically saying you've spent enough money, now you're going to die.
Now it's time for you to die.
That is a death panel.
That is a death panel. I don't understand how. Well, I do. They're fucking pieces of shit.
Take a drink, everybody. He's just said fuck. But wait, before you continue.
Good look. Yeah, go ahead.
Totally had a brain freeze right there.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
Well, I was just that was it for Health and Human Services.
Right.
But I mean, dude, it's relentless. It's like 25 fucking chapters. No, sorry, 30 chapters.
Yeah. That's what I was going to mention. My wife a few years ago had a flip idea, but not a bad one, which is that we should divide this country into the red states of America and the blue states of America. So, red states get everything they want. Christianity is completely part of a teaching curriculum.
Fine.
No free healthcare for anybody. death penalty as much as you want. I'm not being glib here.
No, I
furthering
get it.
the red state agenda, completely entrenched. Like literally, all drugs are illegal, marijuana is illegal, just whatever you want to throw into the red states, they get it. And then the blue states, of course, get something else: free healthcare for everybody, reproductive freedom for everybody. Drugs are illegal, and the profits from those go right back into healthcare. Imagine the gaping chasm that would exist in the red states of America just 20 or 30 years from now.
Think about the huge difference it would make if there wasn't welfare for the red states. The blue states float the red states.
Absolutely.
They would be nothing. They would have nothing.
No, there's a
without
lot
us.
of poor white people living in these red states who they're poor and they're white, but they're essentially, the jobs are so, the economies are so broken in these places.
I mean, look at
that
Kansas,
without welfare,
right?
they would starve to death.
They'd be, yeah. And all that money coming from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine, you want to fucking play games? Let's do it. Fuck you, get out.
If you guys are doing Project 2025, we're going to do Project California.
Yeah.
We'll secede. Sounds great.
Yeah. Ecotopia, right? Did you ever read that book?
No, what's that?
It's some fucking hippie book, but
okay.
Basically it was California, Oregon, and Washington. I think parts of Idaho seceded, and basically they were able to do it because they planted nuclear bombs all over the rest of the country, and they're like, "Fuck you,"
So they don't
fuck around
just
and find
secede;
out.
they basically
blackmail. They say
okay.
if you want to come in and take us, that's up to you. But here's what's going to happen.
So there are enough non-KKK regions of Idaho to make it worth seceding with us?
I think they stole it or something. I don't know. Kicked them out. Maybe there wasn't as many Nazis back then, although you never know. But it basically, it turned into this ecotopia wonderland, and the rest of the country, fell into disrepair, as it were. Yeah, I mean that's essentially what would happen if the blue states. Fine, fuck you.
I mean, just imagine the shape this country would take if they kicked out all the illegal immigrants. I mean, our economy is fueled by illegal immigration, or by migrant workers.
Yeah.
If we just kick the fruit pickers out of this country, nothing. It's all over.
I don't know. But we talked. I've probably ranted about this before, but Colorado tried to institute that. Right? They made it so that if you were going to hire a fucking farm worker, you had to give the option to a white citizen, but to a white person before you could give it to a migrant worker.
Americans don't want to do those jobs.
Nobody fucking showed up, man. What? Like, you get like the occasional guy coming out and picking onions or fucking whatever, and they'd be there for like a half a day, and I'm not coming back.
Yeah, this is the part that's especially befuddling about racism too. Like, Mexicans are lazy. You ever watch Mexican people work?
Dude, have you ever worked with them? I mean, in the kitchen, those motherfuckers get down.
No, that's insanity.
Yeah,
that's complete insanity. So. If Mexicans are so lazy, then why won't white Americans, do these menial jobs?
This shit work. Yeah.
Because they think they're above it.
Yeah.
I kind of went through a lot of my bullets. Did you miss any that are pretty egregious? Or
I mean, you got
several.
I got pages of shit, dude. Like, seriously.
We can have a 3-hour podcast if you want.
Let's see. The executive office, I think I've kind of gone over that. Make the National Security Council a part of the White House, unaccountable to other offices. Seek to completely reverse the Biden administration on climate change policies, eliminate the Gender Policy Council, and end all federal discussion or support for gender and LGBTQ plus identity, transgender care, and reproductive health, including abortion. And that goes like not just generally, but also the military would stop paying for it.
Yeah.
Like everybody loses out on this one. Central personnel agencies. I mean, it's just relentless. It really is just nonstop shit show. The civil rights, reduce the size authority reduce size, authority of office for civil rights and civil liberties, put it and privacy office under the office of general counsel, which eliminates their access to review, no advice on intelligence products. The intelligence community, it's just...
Oh, yeah, they're not fans of the FBI.
No.
If they talk about gutting the government workers and stuff like that, I mean, FBI is number one on their hit list.
That's a huge chunk of it. And they'd also make them take loyalty oaths to the president.
You know, which, by the way, I want to point out that the FBI has consistently sent out warnings about Nazism throughout this country's last 20 or 30 years. The FBI has been on the forefront of exposing Nazism. So you eliminate FBI, or at least gut the FBI, that's a major, force that is protecting us from white hate.
Yeah. Oh,
at least trying to expose white hate.
Trying to expose it. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Department of Defense, refocus the Department of Defense on war fighting and chain of command accountability. So you completely strip them of kind of administrative abilities or jobs and put them back into fighting wars and chain of command. So there's no I'm just following orders is kind of the story of the day. Now this one, this is a bad one. Yeah. You adopt irregular warfare as a cornerstone of the U.S. military strategy abroad and at home. So you're going in fighting terrorist wars in cities. You're going in and using
So they're talking about using the military
against their own
enforce
citizens.
Policy.
Yeah, against their own citizens. And design a system to purchase new or experimental weapons systems without breaking the law, but avoiding DoD regulatory red tape. So you're basically buying experimental weapons to use against your citizens.
Which means chemical weapons.
Well, also, I mean, some of those crazy fucking noise weapons that they have now. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge believer in the whole Havana syndrome thing, but if they had such a thing, that would fucking go on. I mean, anything, psyops, just everything's on the table.
Yep.
And not just out of the country, but against their own citizens.
Which I'm not really crazy about either one of those.
No.
Yeah. I mean, not only should we not be funding Israel to pummel the Palestinians,
right?
We shouldn't be doing it to our own citizens either. Kind of a pet peeve of mine.
That little irksome.
Yeah, a little irksome.
One of the weirdest things to me in this whole thing is that they really talk about China as the enemy, and I'm unclear as to why that is.
Yeah, because they've been a most favored nation trading partner with us for several years now.
Well, and they're very specific about cozying up to Russia.
China is.
No.
Oh, you mean
Heritage Foundation,
yeah.
Project 2025 is very, very into cozying up to Russia, but
you can't figure out why it's anti-Chinese.
Why they're so anti-Chinese?
So is that racism or just communism? Well, it's not communism because they don't seem to hate communism anymore.
They don't give a fuck about that. Yeah, it might just be to have a generic enemy.
Well, if we're saying that the military was meant to enforce war and to prosecute wars,
yeah. I don't know. That one's confusing to me just because China and Russia are such pals right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it
is a little bizarre.
I think it's just to have an enemy, somebody specific as an enemy to build up your defense, to buld up your military capabilities.
Yeah,
right?
It always works.
Right. I mean, that's straight out of 1984.
Sure.
Yeah, let's see. Department of Homeland Security, eliminate Department of Homeland Security and create a super agency with 100,000 strong workforce focused on domestic law enforcement. Domestic law enforcement. Yeah.
Say more about that.
I mean, this is creating a military essentially out of the Department of Homeland Security. So the people that are there, basically the border patrol people, gets turned into its own army of sorts.
That's who's going to run the camps,
and that's going who would run the camps, and also go into cities and round people up for whatever reason.
I mean, do they really even need a reason at this point? If all this goes through, reasons will be
no. It's just more armed people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another branch.
Sure.
And apparently, they want to redo the Marines. I'm not sure exactly.
That I didn't read about.
I couldn't figure out exactly what they were talking about, but they wanted to revamp the Marines. I don't know if that was. Yeah, it's kind of.
I did not come across that in my notes. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, see.
Maybe the Marines are too liberal.
Oh, yeah, fuck. Of all the branches of the military, they're the liberal ones.
They did. Have we eliminated Don't Ask, Don't Tell? I think we have, haven't we?
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah, so
that's
too
gone.
liberal. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if you're going to get rid of anybody, it'd be like the Navy, dude.
Are you saying the Navy is more openly homoerotic than the Marines? Or
look, Jesse. No, I'm just saying that of all the branches of the military, probably the most conservative one that I can think of is the Marines.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, I would say the Navy and the Air Force are probably the liberal ones of the fucking of the military.
But don't get me started. I mean, have you read those books or heard those interviews on NPR about the strain of white supremacy that goes through the Air Force? It's pretty crazy.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't doubt it, but
it's a whole ball of wax.
Interesting.
Basically. Yeah.
It's DEI. Oh, man.
Yeah. DEI is not going to survive. Voters' rights, obviously, down the tube.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a thing anymore.
Well, and this is talking about the Agency for International Development, right? So people funding for going into other countries and helping them out in different ways. A lot of that would basically cut any mention of so what happened? I think it was called the Mexico Protocol, where we weren't going to give Mexico any money to help with infrastructure and stuff, USAID,
right.
Unless they took abortion off the table.
Okay.
Nothing. And I think Bush Shrub, I think that he instituted that in conditions for getting aid in Africa and other places like that.
Okay.
And that got taken out, but now, of course, that would be reinstituted. And of course, they can cut NGOs out that would
non-government organizations.
Right. Because there is some funding that comes from USAID to NGOs to help in different countries.
Right.
But if they consider that you advocate, climate fanaticism, then they could cut your funding. Right. Abortions, cut your
climate
funding.
fanaticism as in science.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Don't use those big words.
Okay.
DEI stuff. I mean, anything that they hold against, they can withhold. They can withhold your funding through the USAID.
If you are not a loyalist.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, I mean, we give so fucking much money to so many different places for good reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just shot. All of them, and it could be for any reason or no reason. They don't need to give you a fucking reason to cut your funding. It's like, oh, you're a climate fanatic. Wait, what?
Yeah. But wait, we're being taken over by a dictator. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. No, well, no, and it especially doesn't fucking matter if it's a dictator, because that's our people, I mean,
exactly.
That's the other fucking thing about this whole thing, is that it really is
pro-fascism.
Pro-fascism. It's pro-autocracy. I mean, these are people that all right. All of these autocracies around the world right now really have no ideological connection. North Korea doesn't have any ideological connection to Iran, to Venezuela, to Cuba, to Russia, to Hungary. None of these people have an ideological connection. What they do have is they all want money, and they all want to keep power. And that's what's going to happen here. We will be tied up with all of these people. I mean, these people send money to each other. They send equipment to each other. They send technology to each other in order to help keep each other in power. Because their one thing that they do agree on is that we in the West, liberal values, are bad.
Right.
That's the only thing keeping us together, or keeping them together, and keeping them on the same page.
Sure.
Once the U.S. falls, then we become part of that fucking network, Autocracy Inc. We become part of that fucking nexus of fucking horror.
Well, and obviously this chess piece is a gigantic one.
This is the queen.
Yeah.
And the king. I mean, this is all of them, because who's left after this? You've got NATO and Europe, and they're fucked without us.
Yeah. Wow, Josh, thanks a lot.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Bro, I started out today pretty excited and pretty chipper. Until I saw you.
Jesus
You're
Christ.
sorry ass.
Actually, let's see if there's anything else that I could fucking ruin a day with here. I'm sure I got more, but I mean, I think people really just need to know about this and do as much talking to people about this and letting everybody know that if this comes into play, the American experiment's pretty much done.
Yeah. They always say this is the most important election of our lifetime. Whatever they've said before, that is the case.
Yeah.
This
truly is
the most important election of our lifetime.
Because I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck we'll do to make the, like, if Trump gets in, I don't know. I mean, that's it. And
right?
How long can you leave, right?
Well, not only that, I mean, like, you and I can afford to leave this country.
You're right.
There's millions of Americans that can't. So
I don't think that I could. I mean, really,
but I'm saying, I mean, you'd have a shot.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you'd have a shot of getting the funds together to leave.
Yeah.
There's people that have no shot at that, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. Talk about a shithole country.
Jesus.
That's where we're at next year if this happens.
Just a long sigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch the debate tomorrow?
Yep. Oh, can't wait. Yeah, my mother-in-law is still kicking in there, so we're gonna go to her house and watch it. So
oh, nice.
We just, she's in hospice, but she's kicking in there. She's doing pretty good, and my wife keeps saying, just stay alive long enough to watch the debate, or stay alive long enough to see Kamala Harris get elected.
Elected, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to go watch it with her. Pretty excited.
Right on.
So it looks like he's going to be there. Looks like he's going to show up.
White's the eyes, man. Actually, yellow of the eyes.
So Fucky McFuckface will be there. I mean, you and I should have had a bet about this because I think all along I thought he would show up because of his own hubris, and you thought he's just too cowardly.
We'll see tomorrow. I hope that it goes the way that I think it will go.
Yeah, and someone, a left-wing guy on MSNBC the other day, did have some good points. He was, we've all been pretty giddy for the last couple months about the Democratic Party, and it's been pretty exciting, but he did have a good cautionary warning, which is don't forget Trump is a really good debater. Doesn't mean he's good with issues or facts, but as far as his presence and his ability to turn things around in his favor, let's hope she doesn't underestimate him. I don't think she will.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
He is not a good debater.
No, well...
He's not. He can't fucking string words together.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. But he is excellent at circumventing any rule in place to turn things in his favor. You know what I mean? Like, he's an awful debater. He can barely string two sentences together. As far as words go, he's probably one of the worst debaters of all time.
He's an absolute fucking moron.
So
when I hear people say that he's a good debater, I don't think people understand what a debate is for the most part. And I'm not being an asshole to you.
It's a valid point. No, it's a valid point.
I like when people say that he's a good debater, that's bullshit. What he is good at, right, is being a narcissistic fucking semi-charismatic asshole. And he never even really turns anything into his favor. He just puts out a zinger and acts like he won.
Sure.
Right? So I think that when he's got somebody who can actually fucking debate and can
stick to the issues,
stick to it, and fucking fight his ass in the way, shut the fuck up, old man. You're drooling, right? Somebody needs to fucking say that out loud to him.
Of course.
Somebody needs to be like completely fucking abusive to him. And that will turn the fucking tide. So that's what I'm hoping to see. I'm hoping to see her just fucking cram that fucking Gucci up his ass.
Yeah,
dude.
Can't wait. And, to the credit of the guy that said good debater, I don't think he means excellent orator. No one in the world could ever possibly mean that about Trump.
Yeah.
I just think if you look at Trump going into a debate, I thought Biden was going to wipe the floor with him last time. That didn't happen.
He got bullied.
Now, that doesn't mean, again, that Trump's a good orator, but he is good at winning debates.
And
call it whatever you want. He is good at winning debates.
I guess the whole idea of a debate to me is stupid because most of the time it's pure parlor tricks.
Right.
It's using words in ways that, it's disingenuous.
Right.
And there's specific things that you can do to make a debate turn in your favor.
Right.
He can't do any of that.
No.
And so I don't know. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do get that. I do believe that.
Just don't take him. I think don't take him lightly is a good warning.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah. Agreed. Take him seriously, but don't fucking take him too seriously. Yeah. And definitely, dude, I hope she fucking just calls his bitch ass out. Motherfucker.
Dude, come on, man. I mean, could he win this election? Yes. Can he beat her in a debate? I don't think so.
Not a chance.
No. She is an impressive, intelligent woman who is confident in her own ability, and she should wipe the floor with him.
Have you looked at any of the articles about their debate prep?
No. What did you find?
Well, she obviously is fucking preparing for his bullshit.
Yeah.
And mock debates, sitting down, talking points.
Yeah.
All the stuff. He kind of sits around and talks about what he's going to say. That's his debate prep. And apparently they've tried to get him to like do it, but he doesn't got the focus for it. So they're hoping that Happy Trump shows up and not angry or grumpy Trump. That's what.
Now that would be an interesting wrinkle if Happy Trump shows up.
I hope all she needs to do is say, "Get out of my face, you fat fuck," something like that, just to get under his fucking. Think you're good looking, do you?
Yeah. Oh, he's much better looking than she is. Come on, man.
I mean, just needle him, just get under it, and it will just. Once he launches, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
Once he launches, it's over.
By the way, since we just talked about Project 2025, we have to mention this. Did you see the last time Trump in the last couple of weeks has said the words out loud? Your kids, they could go to school and come back a different gender. Have you heard him say that?
Yeah, the whole child care speech that he did, it was just like, people are like, oh, he's really losing it.
Yeah.
He's making no sense.
No kid has ever gone to school, come back a different gender. It's never happened.
I mean, it's just like after being born abortions, dude. Like, what
is that? Fuck? Now, I heard that referenced. You said that earlier, and I don't remember the reference, though.
He's said that. They're
after birth abortions.
They're having late-term abortions. They're even having abortions after birth. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
If you needed proof that Fucky McFuckface doesn't understand what words mean, that would be it.
He's such a goddamn moron. Okay, you got a.
I do have an asshole of the week.
Okay, all right.
So this is going to seem anticlimactic compared to what we just talked about, but I had to have an asshole of the week.
Asshole of the week.
Tucker Carlson.
Oh, good.
This is Vivian Ho from the Daily Beast. The Biden administration is condemning Tucker Carlson for his 2-hour interview with a Holocaust denier who spread Nazi propaganda, calling the sit-down a disgusting, sadistic insult to all Americans. Earlier this week, Tucker Carlson hosted podcaster Daryl Cooper in his show. Cooper suggested in the interview that Nazi Germany's mass murder of the Jews was an accident and that the millions... Whoops. Whoopsie.
I'm sorry.
Are you laughing at the Holocaust? But listen to this. It was an accident, and the millions who were systematically murdered just ended up dead at concentration camps because of poor planning.
Oh,
okay.
How did that happen?
Now, let's slow that down. What were the Germans great at? Planning, dude.
Oh,
dude,
my
no
God.
one planned better than the Germans. It's funny because, not funny at all. Holocaust deniers, they'll have several theories about why the Holocaust was fake.
Yeah, right.
But if you just look at the German Nazi record keeping, it is the most meticulous thing you have ever seen in your entire life. Like, Trump tries to lie and obfuscate the truth. The Nazis documented all of it.
Everything.
Every single life was documented. So, poor planning. Germans are kind of known for their planning.
Dude, what?
So,
what the fuck?
So that's our asshole of the week. Tucker Carlson just having a Holocaust denier on his show. Like it's just no thing at all.
Well, Tucker Carlson. I would expect nothing less from that asshole.
Jesus Christ. By the way, Elon Musk, our friend
of the pod,
said the interview was very interesting.
Oh, God damn it.
And was worth watching in a post on X that he later deleted. Now, this is what I just can't get. If Elon Musk is omniscient and smart and a genius, why did he delete that?
Because he got what he wanted out of it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, he's a piece of shit.
Right.
And again, Tucker Carlson, he's totally getting paid off by the Russians.
Yes.
Elon, definitely paid off by the Russians.
Right.
Like, this is all Russian talking points. All these things are to sow discord in America and bring down the specter of liberalism in the world.
Absolutely.
That's what this is all about.
Good news is I have a couple quotes
Oh, fine.
to end it up. First of all, we got to toast bad dads. That's the thing we have to do every episode is toast the bad dads. Cheers. Cheers for all the bad dads.
Bad dads. All
I got
he taught us.
3 quotes here. The first one, kind of on its own, says, this is Robert Brault, who was an author. He said that life becomes easier when you learn to accept the apology you never got.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
That's a good one.
That's something about bad dads, right? Like,
for sure.
Not getting an apology. Just get over that. You're not going to get that.
It's fine.
The next 2 are from Carl Jung and W.C. Fields. Now, what does Carl Jung have to do with W.C. Fields? You tell me. Jung said, the world will ask you who you are. And if you do not know, the world will tell you. Which I think in just a few words is one of the most profound things I've ever heard. Right?
Sure.
Figure out who you are and own that. Because if you don't, the world will tell you who you are.
Yeah.
W.C. Fields, however, said, it ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. I don't know if W.C. Fields read Carl Jung. Kind of sounds like he did. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. So yeah, W.C. Fields was a fan of Carl Jung, and Kamala Harris is a listener to this podcast.
Hi, Kamala.
You're the best, Kamala. All right, man. Thank you for working so hard on that. Really appreciate it.
I hope that it was, new information for some people.
It was both entertaining and terrifying. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Well, glad to do it.
See you next week.
Yeah, rock on, man.
Take care.
Yeah. You have been listening to The Trivium Man. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can either call us at 415-484-8841 or send us an email at thetriviumpod@gmail.com.